In the days of old, the sorcerers of Riverlong cured the sick and healed the wounded through a great power called Source. But a terrible darkness invaded the land, and Source was forever tainted. The sorcerers who once healed now only destroy, and madness has overtaken them. A few brave Source hunters are all that stand between Riverlon and the dark power that threatens to destroy it. Wherever Source appears, hunters follow.
Rise and shine, Master Source Hunters. The captain wants you up on deck. Hear them gulls? Means we're close to shore. I don't ever you go in there, Master Source Hunters. City's full of undead, hungry enough for blood. But you're supposed to investigate that murder, ain't you? They say it's Source that did the Counselor in. Source in a city like Sicil, nowhere safe anymore. Here they are, Captain Sir.
God's blessings on you, hunters. You'll be happy to hear we've reached Sicil. But there's trouble offshore, so we'll have to sail in carefully. Here, have a look. Those are orc ships, and they're blocking our passage. We'll get you as close to the city as we can, and drop you off on the beach. Be wary now. Orcs are on the attack. Undead have closed every route out, and there's a sorcerer on the loose. If we're to get justice for the Counselor, you'll have to keep your wits about you. May the luck of the gods be with you both, Source Hunters.
If I didn't know there were orc ships raiding to the west, I'd mistake this for a placid beach.
At least the orcs make a bit of noise when they attack. It's dark-dealing sorcerers that'll strike with neither warning nor mercy.
Is that a corpse? What's it doing here alone?
What? Did you expect it to have an entourage? Can you believe this? The man jumped off a cliff at the behest of some statues, of all things. Agreed. Call me skeptical, but a little proof goes a long way for the rational mind.
Source Hunters! How did they find us?
Take the stone to the temple.
These whelps will be easy to crush.
As you say, Madam Conduit.
Arise, fair dead! Seize upon our enemies!
This is the end! For you!
Their leader said something about escaping with a stone.
Stolen from this dungeon, I imagine. Can we get inside? Those thieves were more than petty criminals. Their leader gave life to the dead. What stone could they have been so keen on taking? Indeed, for all we know, these dark-dealing thieves may be involved with Councillor Jake's murder.
This seems to be broken. I'll need to unlock this somehow. Careful! There's a mine in the middle of our path.
Someone must have an interest in protecting whatever's kept here.
Like I always say, why pick on someone your own size when innocent creatures are so much easier to slaughter?
I've always heard there's typically more to a king's tomb than meets the eye.
It could be a myth, or it could be our lucky day.
Like I always say, why pick on someone your own size when innocent creatures are so much easier to slaughter? You're like a gorilla in a porcelain store.
Accelerated action! This seems to be broken. This seems to be broken.
Well, what's this I've spotted?
We made short work of that door, but I don't imagine our weapons would survive such use for long.
You're like a gorilla in a porcelain store.
Careful, I've spotted a trap. Better to detonate that mine safely than trip over it myself.
You're like a gorilla in a porcelain store.
Meet your demise!
I've spotted something.
Well, what's this I've spotted? I've spotted something.
I've spotted something interesting.
Voices downstairs.
The last thing we need is to surprise another angry summoner.
I sense enemies nearby.
I've got all the remedies.
My robes are soaked! You'd better hope there's no hint of a flame in this place! Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. No one can get in here but us and the boss. You don't know that! Those cultists have been poking about for days!
Face the unending darkness. This seems to be broken. Oh, another one for the collection.
A living rat dares disturb the slumber of the dead? A thieving fool insults the sanctity of the grave. The bloodstone defiler, where is it? Strange indeed, robed indeed. Your tricks will not save you from retribution, deceiver. The bloodstone, deliver it now, and I may deign to end you quickly. In life, I toil to care for these holy grounds. In death, I protect them from profaners and poachers. The legacy of Cecile is mine to preserve. Her traitors are mine to destroy.
We'll have none of that, you hear?
No glory in this death!
Death never dies, fool. Death in 1,000 forms rules all.
One mark is not enough. No glory in this death.
Here lies Master Ragequin's first apprentice, killed by a falling corpse.
Look! Look! A wanderer comes my way, walking the sands upon which this poor shell must suffer. Call me Ishmael, son of the sea, an outcast upon these wretched shores. An exiled shell, doomed to live under a canopy of arid sky, not his native, tender water. My fate is a cruel one, I assure you. How many snot-noses have held me up against their dirty little ears, only to claim they can hear the ocean? Of course they can hear her, the brats! We are on the very edge of the great aquatic mother, whose embrace I so desperately long for. Yes, yes, I, King of Pearls, ache to repose anew on his coral throne. Hurl me toward the water! Swing me as far as your arm's strength gives lease. and treasure long sunk I will grant thee. Of course I can talk, don't be silly. There's more tongue to me than heart. Indeed, the surprise should be mine, for I still remember the days when your kind swung from branches and plucked the vermin out of their neighbor's fur. Time is an indulgent mistress to one who spends happy hours as she passes. But when your existence is one of misery, she becomes a lethargic harpy. Oh, I remember ancient times, for I have lain here since antiquity, when the ruins around us were palaces, and the sun-bleached dead merry children. All this I have seen, alive, alone, alas. What do you say, kind knight? Will you return to the sea, so he may yield you long-lost treasure?
Agreed. Let's send him home.
Liberator, kind benefactor, bless me, bound bitch. The sea, I have returned, where every wave feels like a mermaid's kiss. May the bounty of the deep be yours, along with my eternal gratitude.
Come, let's have another drink while we still can. To your very good health.
And yours, Bibius. Here goes. Oh. Goes down as smooth as birdie.
Sweet relief.
It doesn't get you more hammered than an anvil.
Better to be dead drunk than blind dead, what you?
Hold it right there, orc scum! No one slips past the Legion unchallenged.
Calm down, Junius. Doesn't look like one of them orcs to me. Not a single horn in sight, you know.
Just hold your tongue, will you, Bibius? Can't be too careful. We are sworn to protect Scythiel. We're Legionnaires, of course. On the lookout for orcs, for they've been attacking from the sea. God knows why they do it, but we stand firm. We of the Legion, liberators of Rivellon.
Liberators of liquor too, aren't we, old chum?
Shh! Just pipe down, will you, Bibius?
Ever kept the watch? Stood on the lookout for hours on end, bored stiff. Boredom's a demon, buddy, and booze is the demon hunter. There. Oh, it's time for this hunter to take another shot. Huzzah!
Aye, a noble word for watchdog, that, for that is what we do. Watch over the local dogs that ever so often aim for one another's throat, and separate them to keep the peace. Separate by the sword, that is.
Best is to neuter it. Ha! Spay for pay, Legion's motto.
Just put a sock in it, will you, Bedius?
So, you're source hunters, are you? And how are we supposed to verify that's true? We can't read. For all we know, those papers say you're a polymorph parrot on the lookout for a 2-bedroom birdcage. They don't prove a thing.
You know what? We'll take you two to the wizard. I know he reads. He has books large as a house, that one. Yeah, he'll squeeze the truth out of you, one way or another.
Are you mad? You kill Legionnaires? Let's just go to the wizard peacefully. Stand down, unless you want me to stand by and let them give you a good thrashing.
Better to be dead drunk than blind dead, what you?
Hold up. Just where Legion it? Shh. Just
best way to
just put a sock.
ever.
You know what?
Are you mad? You kill Legionnaires? Let's just go to... Stand down, unless you want me to stand by and let them give you a good thrashing.
No, we'll do as I say, and there's an end to it.
You defy the Legion, will you? The punishment for that offence is death.
Precise decision!
Oh, thank heavens. Maybe now you can learn something useful, like how to wash your underthings.
Well, there we have it. 2 dead Legionnaires. I'm not so sure anymore. It was a wicked thing we did.
Onslaught from afar!
Did you see that? Those orcs had a human commander.
How very curious. And how very disquieting. Bah!
Oh,
What's all this ruckus? Sounded worse than a dozen tomcats fighting over the world's last mackerel. Ah, but I see we've suffered another orc landing. And judging by the relative ease with which it was dispatched, I can only come to one conclusion. Source hunters have arrived in Sicil. You're as welcome as a glass of cooled milk on a hot day, my friend. I'm Ahu, at your service. It was I who requested your presence in this troubled city. So you were, and so you weren't. Behold! There we are. Meet my other half, Hunter.
When this little...
Ha ha! No need to look so flabbergasted. I may be a wizard rife with tricks and guile, but I assure you my plea is an earnest one.
Avert your gaze, and I'll handle this threat for all our sakes.
She wouldn't hurt a fly, and I won't let you punch a horn on her head.
Bringing your little orcish girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house.
Nonsense. Listen. She's purring, darling.
What fool would trust a two-bit love potion out of a back-page circular from youthful gore?
One day, Moira. One day you'll show 'em all.
We need more help or she's lost.
Too bad, dude. Not even a skeptic like you can deny that she loves you.
An orc in love. Ha! When this little chap fades, she'll liberate the flesh from our faces.
Come now, enough doom and gloom. Cast the gaze instead upon my fair, silent hill.
Avert your gaze, and I'll handle this threat for all our sakes.
She wouldn't hurt a fly, and I won't let you punch a horn on her head.
This place reeks of orc stench.
Bringing your little orcish girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house.
Nonsense. Listen. Darling.
What fool would trust a two-bit love potion out of a back-page circular from youthful gore? Pull your backs into it!
So, now that the cat is out of the bag, let us turn to the matter of Councillor Jake's murder. It's hard to put my finger on it, but I can feel in my very whiskers that sorcery was at play. Visit the scene of the crime, and I'd bet sardines for salad you'll say the same. Captain Aureus, though, The local commander of the Legion insists I'm seeing ghosts. I insist he's blind to all but the undead. Jake was murdered in a downstairs room of the King Crab Inn, up in Sicil proper. The Legion keeps it under lock and key, though, so you'll need Aureus's permission should you want to have a peek. So there are, or rather, there is. Popular opinion has it his wife did the deed, but to be frank, I have my doubts. She seems a likely candidate, to be sure, but that would make her a sorceress. Esmeralda knows how to charm, yes, but I just don't see her magic extend beyond a frolicsome look and wink. Still, don't simply take my word for it, Hunter. It may be well worth your while to cross-examine her yourself. The Legion has her under guard in her shop near the town square. That's where you'll find poor Jake's widow. Ah, the undead. They've been clawing their way out of the ground for 2 years now. And for 2 years the stalemate between them and the living has been dragging on at a weary pace indeed. The Legion did a good job keeping them at bay, but I think it's fair to say that without my magic-infused ballistae, they'd have gotten the better of us by now. Someone is responsible for the outbreak. Necromancers are at work, but who are they and where do they hide? Alas, that searching for them is like searching for a single louse in a lion's mane. Unfortunately, that is absolutely correct. The Orc siege is yet another hairball stuck in this city's already choking throat, and it shows no signs of abating. We've cordoned off the western beach where most Orc activity has been reported. For the 9 lives of me, I can't seem to figure what they're doing here. There's nothing of interest along the waterfront, except for a set of caves with an unfavorable reputation. Maybe they're after some pirate's treasure, the fools. I'm glad we've met, Source Hunter. And I'm certain we have a lot more to talk about. Feel free to visit me whenever you want. I've set up a workshop in the Legion's headquarters. Once you're there, just take the stairs. But do pay a visit to Aureus first. He may bark like a beagle with its tail stuck in the door, but you won't get very far in your investigation without speaking to the de facto leader of Sicil. And with that, I bid you adieu, Hunter. Adieu and good luck. May your enemies prove to be mere mice, and you the dauntless mouser.
Sects, undead, orcs. Oh, looks like we have our work cut out for us.
At least we won't be bored. How about we go see that Aureus chap Ahu mentioned?
Blasted orcs have learned how to play with fire!
Come on then, put your backs into it!
The orcs are sending another fleet. Come on, men! Put your backs into it!
We mustn't let the flight spread to the harbour!
Save that ship all by your lonesome. Quite the feat. If I had the magic touch about me, I'd have lent you my hand too. I thought the old gal's fate was sealed when the Orc shaman set his fiery gaze on her sails. But you managed to rescue her from a watery grave. Closest thing to a miracle I've ever seen.
time you got one part in a love note to the Wizard Council is why. Is that why we never sailed the Wizard already more? Speaking of you, for sure, that Lucy Legionnaire really thinks that Ormy charm looks him. I wouldn't let on with 500 yards of my lovely nature. You ever hear about the time the captain just let us catch the joyride? Now it is. Straight to the battle back. Oh, and don't forget the time you got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sail to Yuthel Gore anymore?
Shores? Here? In Seal? Bah! Of all the cursed hunks of rock to land on, Conrad chooses this'n. A ship's got a soul too, you know. You did a mighty fine thing saving that barge. For those of us raised in crews instead of families, it's kin to saving a fellow man. Who knows if it's even over for sure? Those damn orcs keep sending us these terrible surprises. Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves...
Sauce? Here in Seal? Ah, of all that cursed hunks of rock to land on, Conrad chooses this one.
Sailor, what news from the mainland?
Oh, nothing new, sir. Zombies, skeletons, you know the story. Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst! Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Knowing him, he drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Is that Bert?
Is that why we never sailed to Yuthel Gore
yes,
anymore?
Yes, sir. As fine a specimen as one of her stock, sir. Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst! Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Knowing him, he drove it straight to the pub and back.
Oh, and don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Ahoy, sailor! Are you enjoying the fresh winds of Seal?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves him.
I wouldn't let an within 500 yards of my loving nature.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Feddle's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! Knowing him, he drove it straight to the pub and back.
Well, what does it matter? Day labour's more suited to my nature anyhow.
Yes, honest pay for an honest day.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
Halt! These gates are to remain closed at all times. Captain's orders. Wait a second. Well, I'll be a little red imp's uncle, the Source Hunter. Sorry for the gruff treatment. I didn't recognise you right away. Please tell me, how can I aid the investigation? You can see security's tighter than ever around here since that surprise attack the Orcs put on a fortnight ago. They did enough damage to shake up Ahu and Captain Aureus something fierce. We can only hope to hold back the undead and these left-field Orc attacks long enough for reinforcements to arrive.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
Keep your pleasantries to yourself. What are you doing inside this warehouse, snooping around? If it's conversation you're looking for, I'd recommend my comrade Florius, or as I prefer to call him, Loose Lips McGee. As for myself, my job is to protect this warehouse, not chit-chat with intruders. That idiot man-child would sooner spend an hour chatting up a thief than a minute arresting him. I only hope he gets transferred out of this warehouse and straight to the perimeter. Let him rot off as zombies here instead of mine. Even thinking of him turns one into a gabbing hen. Please, leave me be.
Salutations! Source Hunters, I see. I'm Sergeant Curtius, proud protector of this house of Legion goods. This is a storing house for Legion supplies, perhaps the most important building in the realm, by my and others' estimation. And I, Sergeant Curtius, have been trusted to guard it. Curtius is my name, the Legion is my calling.
Well, a source hunter. About time the council took us seriously. Maybe you can start with the two idiots hiding their pet orc here.
Well, a source hunter. A very hearty welcome to our humble warehouse. Have a look around. And don't mind if I pick your brain about the scoop around Undervale. I'm behind on my current affairs. That fusspot said what? Well, old Loose Lips will let that lowly backbiter know what he thinks about that. Hey. So, something you'd like to say to my face?
I haven't a thing to say to you. I'm on duty.
Duty, indeed. Put up your fists.
Are you mad? We're guards, not drunks on the street.
Enough! Both of you! What is this barbarism? Back to your post at once!
Sir, this is an important matter. A matter of honour.
Such matters are to be settled on your own time. Understood?
Understood, sir.
Such bickering is all that thieves need to sneak by unnoticed.
It won't happen again, sir.
It better damn well not.
If only the popular girls from the Source Academy could see how edgy and dangerous you've become. If only the popular girls from the Source Academy could see how edgy and dangerous you've become.
This place reeks of orc stench.
God, Dewey's not so bad.
This place reeks of orc
Would be quite a
stench.
bit better if I could do it in peace. Just making conversation, mate.
Mate, he says. We are colleagues, nothing more.
Come now, it's just a turn of phrase.
Will you please turn your phrases elsewhere?
Report? Still nothing, sir. Suppose there just aren't any thieves around.
If there were thieves, why would we be guarding this place? Tick!
Makes sense, sir.
One day, Moira. One day you'll show 'em all. One day, Moira. One day you'll show 'em all.
Away from there, you pilferer! That room is off limits to the likes of you, so close that door. Good. But do not tempt fate again, or my sword will bring thee justice.
Ah, who better than a proven orc crusher to convince my dumbbell of a friend here that orcs are predators, not pets?
Enough of that. I know how dangerous an orc can be, but this one has been reformed. Anyone can see that she's completely docile, but my prejudiced friend here still wants to kill her. My friend here and I were patrolling outside the city walls, when who did I see creeping along the shore but this lovely orcish lady? For a brief second, as long as eyes. Perhaps confused by the butterflies in her stomach, she sprang up. Fortunately for him, I had the presence of mind to ignore my sword and instead adroitly fling my pouch of trinkets towards her. A vial of love potion shattered over her head, and when she turned to face me, she became instantly enamored. I'm sure she must have been compelled to join the Orcish army under some kind of duress. A lady with such a sweetly savage manner would never willingly join up with those vicious marauders.
Ha! I can assure you there wasn't a hint of sweetness in those murderous eyes when she lunged at my throat. She may be confined here for now, but who's telling when she'll escape and who she'll rip to shreds?
I've always had an amateur interest in all things alchemical. When I read in an esteemed periodical from the Wizards of Youthful Gore about an amazing opportunity that could change my life, I had to act fast or lose the once-in-a-lifetime deal. I sent away for the world-famous love potion, available for a limited time only, and it has worked exactly as promised.
You see what a fool my friend has been, spending all his cash on snake oil and bringing a temporarily tranquilized monster into our midst to boot.
What kind of monster would lie in a published advertisement? I'm sure the effects of the potion will be everlasting, as printed.
You see, he'd believe it was noon at midnight if he read it on a printed pamphlet. Please tell me you can reason with him, or ditch reason and use your sword to shave him from his murderous darling.
Bravo! I trust not only the potion, but my scaly sweetheart in and of herself.
You're going to regret this. We're all going to regret this.
Oh!
Sigurd, grant me swiftness.
This place reeks of orc stench.
You never have anything to report.
Isn't that a good thing?
I can't even smell the air.
concerned myself with such things.
You'll be concerned enough when you realise that reward money won't be lying in your pocket.
Dear me. How the coast reminds...
Sigurd's beard! What a find!
If only the popular girls from the Source Academy could see how edgy and dangerous you've become.
Looks like the mortician is rather suspicious about Jake.
What could Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, or Evelyn have to do with it?
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. How do you... Ah, the ledger, is it? Fool was I to leave it in the open. Or perhaps I even looked forward to being found out. Well, as you know, I have my suspects in the matter. What would you like to know? Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary, and there was something about her that night. Some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts, that there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlour. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. Pillar of the community? Ha! Half this city doesn't know my name, and the other half regards me as the spirit of death itself. I'll keep my reward, thanks, and the community can think whatever it wants.
Well, that's what you get for trying.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? Ask 1,000 times if you like. I'd rather risk a flight to the north than hand over this fortune.
Dear me. Oh, how the coast reminds me of my long-fled youth. I sailed the sea. I walked the worlds.
Aaron has as many friends as the man.
You there!
A moment of your indulgence, if you please. You are the source hunter, are you not? The hero the whole of Sicil is abuzz about. The talk of the town, the juiciest grape on the grapevine. Such a pleasure to meet you. A delight. No, scratch that. It is so much more than a delight. It is an intervention of fate. Yes, that's it. Fate has put me on this very spot so I may tell you all about a most intriguing opportunity indeed. Mendius, at your service. What is my profession? Well, I'll tell you what it used to be, and that is a man of medicine. But what does a man of medicine do but mend what has first been broken? I saved lives, to be sure, but today I change them. Oh, it's not merely an opportunity. It is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become better, to become the full extent of the promise that is locked inside of each and every one of us. So first of all, let me ask you this question. Do you like adventure?
Some could not because they are professionals, not adventuring daydreamers.
Clearly, two strong personalities stand before me. Two who voice their opinions with vigor when they differ. What else could I expect from mighty source hunters? Too bad your line of work comes with such measly recompense. Am I right? The wage of a mere soldier. Now, between you and me, tell me truthfully, don't you sometimes wish you could earn more?
And I can't say that I have. I'm content with what I have.
Well, don't quarrel about it on my account. Still, if a matter is divisive, it is divisive mainly because it is alluring. And riches are so very alluring. Even so, my friend, matters of a pecuniary nature aside, what is life without variety, without spice? To be a source hunter must get frightfully dreary sometimes. Am I right? All those orders. Investigate this, retrieve that, and at the end of the day, what do you have to show for it? Wouldn't you prefer to call your own shots? Be your own boss?
Friends is the man with many chases.
Well, suffice to say it, I've got my eye on you, Baron.
I disagree. I, for one, am content with my station.
You disagree with one another. But that proves you are firm-willed, that you have the minds of independence, not dependence. Admit, life's too short to spend it doing someone else's bidding. Am I right? Of course I am. And I could help you attain the dream, enact the change you deserve. And that is exactly why I am here. Why fate has put me right by the door to the King Crab, so that I could meet you and tell you about the marvel that is the Fabulous Five. The invitation to join is yours. Grab it.
Around the inn, are you? Waiting for what?
Exactly.
I'll thank you to leave me be, you old bat.
Oh, you think you tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Greetings, traveller. And may the Immaculate Conduit's myriad blessings comfort and cradle you. Tell me, have you yet heard the revelation? You mean you haven't heard? Oh, what fortune that I may share the goddess's salvation with one who has, as yet, been lost. Steel yourself, friend, for your mortal spirit could be forever transformed from this moment forth. The conduit, our link to the goddess herself, has given us a special gift, and the gift is thus. By following her instructions and becoming initiated into the one way, we can each of us live on for a span greater than the number of stars that twinkle within the goddess's right eye. Go on the path to the righteous, my friend. Forget not that the conduit has great plans for you.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize.
Oh, my good man. Drink, if you please.
Please do keep shouting, my dear.
Appears to be locked.
Hold! Our enemies have lain a trap.
Greetings, greetings! Oh, you are most welcome in my chamber. Customers rarely find me up here, but I do so abhor the hustle and bustle of the marketplace. Oh, but let us not discuss. Let us browse and barter. How gratifying to see you return. You are quickly becoming my favorite customer. How gratifying to see... You have seen them? A punch-on, perhaps? Yes. I have the blood of sorcerers in my veins, and between you...
You'd be derelict in your duties. Sorcery is like an incurable disease. If it's in her blood, all we can do is put her down.
Fine, have it your way.
Gods have mercy. You're a source hunter. But I never really dabbled in sorcery. No. Stand back. I'll defend myself.
What depraved sorcery is this?
Greetings, greetings. Oh, you are most welcome in my chamber. Customers rarely find me up here, but I do so abhor the hustle and bustle of the marketplace. How gratifying to see you return. You are quickly becoming my favorite customer. How gratifying to see you return.
Looking good.
Greetings, Source Hunter. I don't mean to hinder your investigation, but I can't open this door for anyone who hasn't received Captain Aureus' explicit approval.
Tell me.
Ah, pointless chatter with strangers does so thrill me. How did you know? Please continue interrupting my drink if you'd be so kind. How curious of you to show interest in a lonesome stranger at the bar. Let me answer by saying that who I am is hardly any of your business, and anyone with an ounce of tact would have known that already.
Oh, my good man. Drink if you please.
Please do keep shouting.
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. This old bear's edgier than a dodecahedron these days.
Ha! The closest I've come to my match is when I linger over long while rocking.
I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. From Academy West, aren't you? Give Captain Wartruce my regards next time you see him. Heavens hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, one that might concern you. See, I'm here on, well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights. What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing. Preferably with their horns in their suitcases and a knee-knocking fear of ever crossing paths with a sauce hunter again. I came south seeking the Legion's help, only to find it tied here in Sicil. They don't have a spare soldier to send northward, and even in my finest form, I can't clear the place of that many orcs without backup.
Have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled...
Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now. But perhaps that's where you come in.
They say he's pretty...
I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, you could use reinforcements here in town. I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Counselor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make short work of the perpetrator. More than I'd hoped, comrade. I don't know what in tarnation's gotten into the townsfolk here, but there's enough dark magic running roughshod to topple a small mountain. There's Mayor Cecil's doings for one, and the mysteries of our master Thalron for another. And on top of it all, The feline menace is lurking at every hearth and shadow. You mean you don't already know, comrade? Their kind can see in the dark. It ain't natural. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the mayor's a decent sort, even if he can't hear farther than the tip of his own nose. But from what I've heard whispered around the docks, the old guy's gotten himself mixed up in something not quite on this side of the law. I suspect an illegal sauce, artifact, or substance is at the root of it, but exactly what or who's given it to him, I can't say. And since I haven't technically been assigned to Cecile, I don't have the authority to interrogate him. Fella seems like a humble doctor, but I bet my sword he's dealing in something darker than splints and tonics. A loose-lipped fishmonger let slip that she'd seen our good doctor scale the city wall on 2 separate occasions, well past midnight each time. What business could he have among the undead? Hardly the habit of an innocent healer, I'd say. Well, you know the old expression. 2's a tea party, 3's an invasion. I know this place like the back of my hand by now, and the orcs up north will be short work for a trained-up trio of sauce hunters.
They say he's privy to
Another
ancient-
source hunter on the team will make us all the more formidable against this wicked magic. Welcome aboard, Medora.
That's the spirit. Listen closely now. Do you hear it? That's the sound of every orc and sorcerer in a 100-mile radius shaking in his wee boots.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've got
Hearty welcome to the King Crab Inn, and a pleasure to have you. You look like you could use a round or 3, so what'll it be? Have a seat and stay a while. Mind if we keep our voices down over that sensitive subject? Death and dark magic ain't exactly great for business, you know. That room where it happened, it was rented to a certain woman, though I regret to say I can't say exactly who. This inn isn't in the business of asking many questions, if you know what I mean. She came heavily cloaked, but paid the full sum in advance. I was used to such transactions after many similar concerning a certain Esmeralda. Figured this were just more at same. I saw one other figure go into the room that night. Someone tall, built broad like a man, but shrouded the same as she. Again, standard practice for Mrs. Counsellor and her visitors. I was startled awake by a horrendous hubbub shortly after midnight. I jumped up and grabbed me grandpappy's machete, bleary-eyed and awash in fright. By the time I burst into that room, it was horribly silent. There was only Jake on the floor, dead, surrounded by what may as well have been a battlefield. Whoever done it has escaped through the window, but I saw nary a soul when I looked out. You can bet I hightailed it to the Legion barracks faster than a jackrabbit after that. Councillor Jake, that poor man. I knew too much about his affairs, you know. Never figured it my business to say anything, but after all that's happened, I wonder if that weren't a grave mistake. Esmeralda's longest-standing lover has the audacity to remain lodged at this very inn, you know. He's called the Duke of Ferrell, a high title for a low man. If you haven't yet asked him about Esmeralda, I'd recommend it.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've got to my match is when I linger over long while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's grown more swollen than Saffron's, I dare say.
Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Fortune? Ha! He should be so lucky as to be defeated by Alistair the Great.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend.
Watch out! I smell... Whoa, the fierce stench of frightened source goblins.
Actually, I think that's only roast pig.
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
This time. No better solution to the zombie problem.
What'll you have? I'll get white cheese, blue cheese, old cheese, new cheese.
On the market, it seems.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots. Well, what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
Cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size seals ever seen.
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
What are ye staring at? Captain Jack's the name, though the title may be a little generous at the moment. My crew ran off, and I can't find enough hardy souls to help me reload the ship and sail off. Those scallywags heard there be silver in the Lacula mines, and they abandoned ship like the lily-livered turkeys they are. Haven't seen them since the day we docked.
Choose the finest greens.
Ah, hello, proportionate one. Oh, I can see from the symmetry in your face that you are a great fan of the fine arts, no?
Tomatoes?
I'm a painter by trade, as you can see, but a cartographer at heart. You might think there isn't enough work for one of my talents in a downtrodden city like Sicil, and you'd be quite right. I travel around Andervale, mastering my craft and finding new subjects to add to my litany of lovely portraits and complex maps, like this rooster I'm working on now and the landscape that surrounds him.
Let's see. Toes? Source hunters, eh? All right, proper, we're finally getting a hand. Things is chaos. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget, the finest in me herd. Yes. Oh, Ogget's been missing for more than a fortnight. I love that sheep, you know. Was planning to cook her into a fine midwinter night haggis myself. Do tell me if you hear anything about her. I plan on pursuing whoever stole her with my cleaver in hand. Now that the herd's gone, old Birchie's just scratching by like a hen till the next batch of beasties comes through. I recently sold most of the tender loves to a trader heading north. Plenty of business that way these days. Those miners must be preparing for a mighty great feast. Wish I could have a nibble on my dear darlings, all ground and spiced.
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers infuse even lowly fowl with dark enchantments.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew 'em, spice 'em, stir and churn!
A source hunter will always receive a warm welcome at the town hall of Syceal. I'm sure Mayor Cecil is looking forward to making your acquaintance.
Join the Spud Club if you got an eye for
Well, Mayor Cecil will be happy to see the likes of a source hunter. Welcome to the town hall of Syceal.
A source hunter! Oh, what a sight for sore Sicilian eyes! Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Aureus now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town. That band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where.
Omnes autem mali demonis quam. What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Syceal. Oh, but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken, for you hardly resemble the local fisher folk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed. No, a source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of sorcery, a chaser of charms pernicious. In truth, I cannot go so far as to say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, for I take no pleasure in the company of man. But it may just be to our mutual advantage to join forces nonetheless. Why, simply because you hunt source, and I, Jehan, hunt demons. You are aware, of course, that quite often both of these pests frequent the same shadowy pools of infamy. Now, I hate what I hunt, but I respect its cunning. Should I not, I'd have been decimated, body and soul, long since. This is a sentiment I'm quite certain you must recognize. Let there be strength in cunning, yes, but also in numbers. The calculus of wizardry I offer you, the might of the magician's mastermind. On one condition, that on our joint travels we will never deal with demonic entities, no matter how tempting their propositions. Give me your word on this, and I'll weave you spells.
Agreed. Nothing good ever came from bargaining with those devils anyway.
Most gratifying. I see you are firm of purpose, and thereby ready to descend. Descend into the madness that is sorcery, into the depths where demons dance. Gladly shall I follow you into the abyss. Onward, blood and triumph await.
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among the novels? Oh, rack! What mayhem! In the name of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal, be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine. Indeed you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow so that others may enjoy them too. I am Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Sicile toward the sea. The fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amon Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way. He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls, taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride. Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem!
Ooh!
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem! The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom? Stenteken! Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? Volume 1, Turjageta, friend. Kajdenor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Theleron will have to pay yet another fine. Turjageta, friend. Kajdenor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Theleron will have to pay yet another fine. Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem! Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem! Turjageta, friend! The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom? Stenteken. Hello again, adventurer. I hope you wiped those muddy boots on your way in.
Meow.
Ah, cats. Such beauty, such grace they have. Magnificence incarnate.
Slinking charlatans, more like. I wouldn't trust a cat as far as I could throw it. And I'm a world lead cat tosser.
What? Oh, it's you. Come closer then. Closer, huh? My ears aren't what they used to be. Nor my eyes, for that matter. Yes, hello, Source Hunter. Our city welcomes you. My elf? What elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Sicil, and husband of the stately Cecilia. I've been the mayor here for decades, and I'm quite eager to see Sicil through these difficult times. Yes, very difficult times indeed. What? Oh, you mean Sicil? Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jacon by source magic no less weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Sicil. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought. A weapon called the Staff of Pergamon. The what of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the Staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Sicil harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind. The staff itself contains a shard of an ore, highly valued for its use in the weapons of war. I know use of the material to be forbidden, but I was desperate to do something to aid the townsfolk against the undead. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Sicil's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter. But I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they occasionally, well, they... Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Sicil's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. Maxine? What in heaven's name are you... Oh, you mean the mongrel that's always skulking about the place. I spent months trying to teach that worthless hound how to fetch, and it sat through every lesson looking at me as if I were an idiot. Man's best friend, my eye. I've always been more fond of cats myself.
I knew that dark-dealing old man dabbled in source. To the gallows, I say.
Ha! He's not a sorcerer, merely a simpleton.
And if you'd hang each man for being a fool, there'd be not enough rope in the world to go around.